Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 7th and 8th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline Comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello there, Internet. Welcome.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Yes. Welcome to a Silverline Show on Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim TK, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Quentin Bedwell.
Hello. Quentin Bedwell in the house.
Yes. And it's just us tonight. We'll see how long we can keep the conversation going, or if someone joins us halfway through. But tonight we will be talking about preparing for going to comic conventions. This is in lieu of Daytona Beach Comic Con happening this weekend. We will be there, so we're in the middle of our prep list as well. So we'll tell you what we're doing and what we normally do for conventions, either in state or out of state, and perhaps give you some advice on how to not have to turn back halfway to your destination because you forgot something. Yes. Right now, my preparations are a little slow, as one of my cats has I'm not sure if she has like a herniated disc or if she just has like a low back pull or something. But she currently has like a spinal issue. So hello, Mark. She's currently stuck in a canvas cage, and we have to move her around everywhere. So I have to do so that's fun.
Yeah, man, that's awful.
Yeah, I was talking with my boss earlier how I wished my cats were there to pick me up and take me around when I had gone through my low back injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and take you to the doctor and do all the things that you do for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
No big deal. All right. Well, let's see there. How smooth are your preparations going? Do you have anything get in your way, or just the normal?
Well, I went to Hobby Lobby and got some con sketching things. So about $70 later, just because I went through all my old con stuff, because it's been a while since I've been to a con. A lot of my stuff was just like pens were not good.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things are a little bit precise, so you can't like have them malfunctioning on you while you're there,
Right.
So I just went ahead and tested some pens, threw them away, and went and got some more. So $70 in the hole, but I needed it. It was about time to, get all that stuff back together.
Right.
Other than that, as far as preparations go, mine is going, I'm trying to think of, because I'm actually going on a plane, as are you.
Yes.
So usually when I go to cons, they're local or I'm driving.
Mhm.
And so going on a plane, that kind of changes the stuff up a little bit as
Yep.
far as what I'm able to take, not take. For instance, I'm going to be doing commissions there on the spot, con sketches. But I think I'm just going to purchase like comic book backers when I'm there, instead of taking paper with me, just to save on weight and space.
Definitely.
So it's little stuff like that I'm having to sift through to make sure, I'm making, the right decisions on stuff,
Definitely. Got a question here. Mark Spears asks, Quentin, do you tend to sell more prints, original art, sketches you do at the moment, or anything like that at a con?
The last few times that I went, I had I really can't compare either of the two. I did quite a few sketches. The last time. The time before that, I had more prints, and so I sold a lot of prints and less sketches. But that's because I had more prints the first time. The second time, I sold almost no prints. It was all sketches.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really weird. I think that's kind of how it goes, I think that's kind of how it goes, just different cons, just different.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them was in Albuquerque, the first one, and then the second one that I'm referring to was in San Angelo. So I don't know if it's just a difference in the area or what. So it's a little weird.
Yeah. I have some, as a writer, pretty much all I can do is do signed copies, unless anyone, I don't know, subscribes to my live stream while I'm there. That's about it.
I will share my screen if you want.
There you go.
Tonight we are working on the Silverline character, the Punisher.
Yes.
Oh, wait. It's not a Silverline character.
No. Let's see there. I don't know if we ever featured in a Malibu, but
yeah.
Maybe might be closest there, but not of course. Of course, you got the grizzled chin line there. Going with a little bit of a longer haired Punisher, I see. Yep. Nice. Yeah. So
this is my version, not necessarily an official version.
Sure.
I'll back out a little bit. He's got a little bit more combat gear. And you'll notice down here it says "Return to Form."
Nice.
Taking him away from this new age culture that's trying to take his guns away and his killing manliness. And getting back to the old Punisher that we all love.
He still has guns in the comics. They just did a weird a sci-fi one-off where he had like plasma weapons.
Yeah, well, now he's like going kind of samurai, though, right?
That's a spin-off series. So so they're tying in with Silver Samurai. So they did like a fun, because they did X of Swords and that did really well. It's like, well, if we just did more like Bushido style or more like sword warrior style stories, a lot of our characters. So it's like an alternate universe Punisher with they gave him like the whole new logo with the Oni mask.
Good. I'm glad it was an alternate and not like, the real deal. I think he, a lot of times he gets the short end though. They try to like, do things to him, to soften him up or something. I don't know. I think it's because he wields guns and stuff, but I haven't really been keeping up. So obviously you have, so you'd know better than me.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case. I love the Punisher. I've always loved the Punisher because of guns.
Is that Photoshop or Procreate? Asks Mark. And
this is Clip Studio. Clip
Yes.
Studio. Used to be Manga or Manga Studio.
Mhm.
It is my go-to program. I use Photoshop every day, and I use Adobe Illustrator every day for work. But this is by far and away, if you're doing any kind of comic stuff, this is far and away the best program. To me, I mean, to me, it is the best.
Mhm.
It's got the best ink engine of any of them that I've ever seen. So yeah, if you don't have it, it's usually pretty cheap too. It's usually a lot cheaper than any of those others as well. If you
I believe.
use any kind of Mac or iPad stuff, yeah, you probably want to be using Procreate.
Yeah, I believe Clip Studio even has a pretty like decent like free trial too.
Yes, they do, and they go on sale. It goes on sale a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another thing.
Okay, so obviously we'll not be using that this weekend though. Although I wonder if
Nope.
Yeah. Wonder if in the future though, or if some people are already doing that, where they just bring a tablet to conventions and they give people a PDF of their sketch, like on a flash drive, or just mail it to them.
Yeah, I was thinking actually of bringing my Surface, but then I was thinking, I'm gonna be lugging that thing around, and I mean, I'm afraid because I've already heard people talking about their, and it's usually the case, at cons. The Wi-Fi is only so good,
Yeah.
and it's probably going to be more of a hassle than anything, trying to use it because of the limited Wi-Fi and having to try to keep it charged,
Yeah.
which, my Surface, it keeps charged really good. But, I don't want to be dealing with something that I don't really have to. So I'm just going all traditional for the con.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have seen people though do digital and print it out right there on the spot.
Nice.
I've seen people do that. That's a pretty good idea, but I mean, that is considering that you have a dedicated outlet, that you have good internet to, because
Right.
like Clip Studio, I'm not sure. I think you have to have an online connection. I'm not sure about that. Most of these nowadays you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it does, but yeah, that makes sense. The amount of stuff that is online only now is it's interesting for sure. But man, I just lost all my train of thought.
Preparing for the con.
Yes, yeah. Kind of the main issue that I've been running into with preparing for everything is just the amount of brain fog in terms of making sure I have everything set aside, or at least I know where it is, so I can set that aside later. The nice thing is we are flying, so like we don't need to pack a table or anything. But
right,
yeah. So you said that most of your conventions you have done have been local. So have you gone through and invested in a fold-out table, or do you get one of the rentals?
I don't know what you mean. I know I've rented like Artist Alley. It's been Artist Alley most of the time.
Okay.
And that usually, sets you back around 130, 120. And they usually have like a table and a certain amount of space that you have.
Yeah.
And then of course the investments that I've made has been, enough, because I've got all kinds of accoutrements like 1 year I bought a banner and like a tablecloth.
Yeah.
And of course you have to have like your items if you're going to sell like, specific items there, like prints or whatever.
Yes.
That can run you into some cash.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. That stuff right there can really get up there fast.
Yes.
Not to mention your other stuff that you get, being an artist, yeah, there's there's goods and bads to a lot of it. But as far as art goes, I mean, if you're gonna do markers, then you have to buy markers and make sure you have plenty of markers, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's just over and above stuff that you really need to have. Like, we haven't talked about this, and we should, like snacks.
Yes.
You need to
Snacks are
have
very important.
snacks. You're
Yes.
going to be talking to people. You're going to have you're going to be burning a lot of calories just in nervous energy, talking to people and all that. So
And lots of water.
lots of water.
Depending on the hall, it usually gets very hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I feel like for the meme, I should bring some combos for Combo Man.
Yes.
Yes. I asked it because I know some people who they didn't like the way that the rentals feel when they're like trying to work on it, so they like have got their own like side table to bring to conventions to draw on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I did was, let me see. Yeah, I've got it right here. I'll show you what I purchased today. Hold on.
Oh, had that one pulled up a little bit. There.
Might not even use it, but I've got it.
Nice.
It's a clipboard, and it, of course, it'll hold all of my stuff,
Mm-hmm.
all my materials and stuff. So I'm thinking I can just sit there, and hold it like so. Now, see, in time past, I bought one of those wooden, it's a wooden art box. It's about like this thick. And what I did was, being the craftsman that I am, that sounds a little full of myself, isn't it? But I usually mod stuff. Usually if I get something, I mod it to be how I want it to be. And what I did was I made this box to where it would open and it would stay up there where I could use it as an easel. I put a little bar on it so that, I could put my sketchbook on there and use it as an easel at the table. It worked really well, but see, I can't take that. I can't take it on the plane. It's too big. You got to think about stuff like that when you're flying, because they want to, I don't need to get there with my plane getting pretty close to leaving and, oh, well, you had to pay extra for this. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the issue I had when traveling with a guitar. Like if you're bringing like a bass or anything, like the nice thing is you don't bring your own amps, whatever you just see is like venue sound. But yeah, some airlines are okay with you just throwing it up top, but a lot of times they'll ask you to check it. But there's been a couple times where I've been able to cheese it and check it at the gate for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, going on a plane, it's no small thing. There's a lot of stuff you had to consider, like, I mean, you can't take bottled waters. You can't take, toothpaste.
Less than 6 ounces.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and, like for an artist, which not my kind of art, but I mean, for some artists that use like inks and all that kind of stuff, I'm already thinking, when they see all of my little sharp objects, my little drawing materials and stuff, I'm afraid they're gonna,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
At least you don't have like any paint knives.
Yeah. My Bob Ross kit.
Yep. Yeah. So on my end, I don't really have to worry about setting up for sketches or drawing portraits of any kind when I get there. I just have to essentially pack the issues that I need to bring in like a separate backpack, and that gets the signed copies that I'll be selling there. But then it just becomes a matter of finding enough like cardboard sleeves to layer them all together so none of them get destroyed.
Yeah. I actually have been practicing my speed, and like I'm gonna like offer sketch cards and stuff. I've been practicing kind of on my speed sketch cards just to I really like this one.
Yes. Yeah.
That's an Action Force character. But anyway, been practicing on that, trying to prepare for being able to do art fast and good. I see some of the stuff that comes out of these cons, and look, I'm glad if people like what they get, but man, I just, I've seen some of these con sketches and I'm like, man, and they took that. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
which I know that, a lot of these artists are pressed for time and everything, but if I was paying money for, I'd want to get my money's worth. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm, sure, I would want anything from my favorite artists, but at the same time, me being an artist, I don't want to give them junk. I
Right.
don't want to give them something I just sat down and threw together.
Hmm.
So speed with quality,
Right. It's kind of the you don't want them to lose interest, but you also don't want to make them feel like they got shafted. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Neat.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
See, Mark Spears asks, "Have you ever ran into any rude people at cons?"
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Depending on the city, might
Yes.
play a difference, but like I haven't ran into any really rude people at like Portland, oddly enough. Eugene maybe a little more so, but I think yeah. Ideally, you get the crowd of people that are just happy to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing, it's just a fact of life that some people are just born without, social skills.
Hmm.
And I don't mean like introverts like myself. I just mean there's just some people that just they have no, they just don't have a filter at all. And I've done, artwork for people and they just constantly change it. And they're not an editor.
Right.
It's a little different when somebody's changing something and it's traditional because, with digital, I'm like, sure, fine. I can just, go in here and just take my little lasso tool,
Yep.
and I can flip this around and do this and resize it and undo it and all that kind of stuff. But then you're sitting there at the con and, what they wanted in the first place is absolutely nuts, crazy. And then they want you to change it, I don't mind doing that to some extent or making additions or whatever.
Yeah.
But, some people, they just lack, common social skills. They don't see any problem with being rude.
Yeah.
You don't run into them a lot, but it is a fact of life,
Mhm.
anything you do, anywhere you go. So, I
Yeah.
mean, people are people.
Yeah. What is the most ridiculous request you've gotten?
I wouldn't say ridiculous as far as cons go. I think probably one of the most challenging things was a guy wanted him and his girlfriend. I used to be a caricature artist years ago, so it was a good thing that I was able to do it.
Right.
But I had to do him and his girlfriend or fiance as superheroes, and that it's a good thing that, like I say, that I had been a caricature artist before.
Yeah.
But they didn't want caricatures. They wanted like realistic. While I'm
Yeah.
there at the con, there's no way to fudge on that. And
Yeah.
I could have told them no, but they were so happy to be there, and they were having such a good time. I figured I'd do them a solid. I mean, just
Nice.
in
Yeah.
keeping with the situation.
Yeah. I think that's also like a weird issue of maybe not understanding the social cues or reading the room, because going to like a portrait booth or a caricature booth at a fair is one thing, but
Yeah.
At a convention where everyone's like sketching out quick like superheroes, or like
Yeah.
yeah,
and then you go up there and you want,
Yeah.
like, house plans done, or,
Can
something that's intricate and going to take a long time. It's just not the
Yeah.
place.
I get a crossing of the River Delaware?
Yeah, yeah. That's probably, as far as cons go. Now, that's not the strangest thing I've ever had.
Sure.
Because I do artwork for a living for t-shirt screen print, and there's always, man, I couldn't even tell you. There's so much stuff sometimes that I get that I just, I
Mhm.
couldn't even tell you the weirdest thing, because it's always something,
Yeah.
that's just a little bit weird, a little bit crazy. Um, and then there's some things you just can't do. I
Mhm.
mean, which happens quite a bit. Some people, they just don't really understand a lot of times how art works and how the still medium works.
Mhm.
And they're thinking in terms of motion and all that, and we're not dealing with motion. We're dealing with still art. You can't,
Yes.
unless you're doing sequential, you can't have any hope of having much action
Mhm.
going on. But you'll have somebody come along and they'll say, okay, we want this guy down on the street, and he is walking along and he's got this business card in his pocket of this or that, and we want to be looking at him from the top of a building. I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to do that? It's like he's got a business card in his pocket.
Mhm.
And by the way, I'm referring to particular things,
Yeah.
that's happened to me.
Yes.
So those are, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not even the worst. But I mean, it's all good though. I mean, some people just don't know.
Mhm.
They don't know.
No. That's the weird request I get in terms of writing as it relates to the day job is just not understanding the markets for types of content.
Hmm.
Like, I want to do micro content, but a deep dive. I'm like, well, you're going to get two different audiences, and it's going to appeal to neither of them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. With Yeah, I can't imagine as someone who has like given notes in a professional setting, asking to make reductions at a convention to an artist who's working on like ink and paper.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you brought your white out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, usually to combat that, what I do is I make sure they see it while I'm in the pencil stage.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
And and I tell them, because if once this ink starts flying, that's it. It's
Yep.
done. And another thing to do is you get paid. You have to get paid up front. You have to get paid up front, because what happens? Somebody will come along. Again, not a big deal. It happens. We've all done this thing before. We know how it is. They come around. They put in an order for something, and then they go and they spend their money.
Mm-hmm.
Or some other thing happens, and understandable things, but there you are with a picture of something that nobody else is going to want, that you can't sell, that you spent the time that you could have been doing something else.
Yeah. And then you have to figure out what to do with that. I have heard of some cases of people just forget their stops.
There's that too. There's that too.
Have you ever gone through and collected like emails when you're getting their stuff set us, or we're starting working on their requests? I've heard of some people where they have a separate con email address, so when people request something and they don't pick it up, they can email them afterwards and like, did you want me to like mail this to you?
Good plan. I've never gotten into it that much, because a lot of the times I never really set out to do sketches.
Sure.
At cons, because honestly, I would rather spend my time talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason, like, there's always ends up being a reason why I ended up doing it.
Yeah.
But like this weekend, I really just want to hang out and meet like fellow Silverliners, and I want to talk to people.
Yeah.
So this is really not my thrust. I'm just doing it because I'm gonna want something to do, and it would be a pretty cool deal to make a little money there. But it's not my thrust. It's not what
Yeah.
I'm really out for to do the con sketches.
Yeah. I'm gonna come in there and request an interior of the Sistine Chapel just to keep on theme.
Yeah, that would be, I'll go ahead and start working one up.
Yeah, I'll get back to you in a couple months.
Yeah, St. Martin's in the fields.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have you ever subscribed to the idea of like bringing essentially like a flash list or like a stock list where like these are the heroes I can do real quick and real fast. Here's what they look like. If you want one done and like your way, ask me how you want it done.
I actually did that. I actually for a few of the cons that I did, I had a little book and that already had some that were pre-done, some that I expected, and I have actually sold some of those, but I mean, for the most part, a lot of them are still in the book. Not because they weren't good, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I mean, they were pretty good pieces. Like some of my best pieces, I've had lesser stuff sell. It just comes down to, usually when somebody comes up to get something at a con, unless it's a print that's fully colored, they usually want their input in it. They usually, because that aside from them paying for it, that really makes it theirs,
Right.
But that it's always different though. You never know. You never know how the crowd's going to be.
Yes. Yeah.
But I am not a professional. I've only been to 4, and I've been at an artist alley in 2 and a table in 1. And, so, I mean, I'm no expert, so I don't have like knowledge going way back or anything.
It's still more experience than, the general public.
Right.
Yeah. So we're getting to the back half hour here. Since just the two of us, I figure we'll do an hour-long show.
Yeah.
Don't keep our audience too long. So there you go. My video died again. Packing for convention. Kind of as you're going about now, kind of take us through the step by step as you're preparing for Daytona Beach.
What I'll be doing, I'm going to try to get everything that I need in here and a backpack. I'm going to try to get all my art stuff in here. My backpack, I want to have some snacks. And I want to have like maybe some overflow art materials, and charging stuff for my phone. That's what I'm hoping. But I am the worst about, feathering my nest. I may end up with, there's no telling what I end up with in my bag. But I'm going to pack light enough to be able to talk to folks. Just put it that way.
Yeah. I got several issues that I'm sleeving and I'm going to be putting in a separate, either like under my clothes in my duffel, I think. But reading the backpack with the necessities, always bring a book whenever I travel anywhere, just for reading, maybe 2. And a separate set of gym clothes as well as the emergency clothes, because you never know.
That's good.
Yeah,
you never know when you're going to crack your pants.
Yes, you ever go to grab pants, or in Florida, you never know when you might get an alligator thrown at you through the drive-through of a Wendy's.
You never know.
Yeah,
you you never know.
Yeah. But outside of that, the most thing I have to do is get my knowledge prepared, because I'll be on a panel there, and oftentimes that's where writers will find ourselves is being thrown on panels and having to act smarter than we feel like we are.
You
and
guys can answer as you will. Cassisi, Mark, have y'all ever been to cons at all?
yes.
Maybe there's some things you could help us to remember.
Right.
Because
think-
yeah, I mean I've
yeah.
been, but I'm like I say, I am by far I am no expert. Now on the other hand, Roland, man, that guy seems to
He's
be
been
at a
to a
con
lot.
all the time.
Yes. He's got onto science. Yeah. Yeah. Outside of that, I mean, the other thing is bringing our people voice. Mark has never been to one. Have you ever been to one as a viewer, or just never been to one in general? But yeah, the difference going to a con as a viewer and then going as a creator is you have to bring our people energy. That's probably the hardest thing to bring sometimes is the willingness and ability to hold conversation for a while to get people interested in their books.
Yeah, because I've said it before. I mean, this craft is a very solitary one.
Mhm.
Right, the craft of writing is a very solitary craft, and it kind of forces you. And one time I said the craft that I've chosen, but honestly, I did not choose this. It just seemed to be the thing that
Yeah,
was in me.
Comics choose you.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, it's a very solitary craft, and all of a sudden to be able to sell a book or to do something with it for the public to consume, all of a sudden you have to switch gears and you have to be Mr. I talk to people and I know how to talk to people, and that's not really it's kind of like oil and water, honestly. And I don't really even know how we make the switch a lot of times. Thankfully, in my case, I have had to have jobs in the past where I had to deal with the public. So, and I make it sound so professional. That's really my thing is I don't know how to deal with the public. I can only be me. And so whenever you talk to me, you're getting me.
Yes.
I actually have that problem when it comes to dealing with the public is that I'm not professional enough. I'm a little bit too friendly, not in the creepy sense, but I'm just saying, I don't really, whenever I meet somebody, I meet them like a friend. I don't treat them like customers or, I mean, I'll sit there and chew the fat with them like, like anything. So,
I had one interaction where me and another dude just started talking about with some guys about histories of substance abuse on the road to recovery. And so it turned into it seemed like more of an AA meeting than anything.
Yeah.
Mark says, I never wanted to go and people would be like, who are you? So I was waiting until I did more work. Never gone as a creator or just as a fan. I never think if there's any local conventions, either big or small, it's usually worth going to as a fan because you never know what kind of fun finds you'll see.
Well, not only that, you can talk to people and look at their setups. You can kind of talk to them and see what their mentality is with the whole thing. I know the first one I went to, I was totally lost. I hadn't even been to a con. I had been to one con when I was like 12 that was in a Holiday Inn, and before that. And it was just such a learning experience. We had gotten, me and a friend of mine had gotten a table and, we were in Artist Alley. It was just a really good learning experience because I was able to go and see what it was really all about. That was, by the way, the time when I spent the most money preparing. And I just say that whenever you do go to do a con, you don't need a bunch of stuff. Matter of fact, be careful that you don't spend a lot of money. It's real easy to do to over prepare, and everybody says, to over prepare, but don't over prepare. I mean,
Yeah.
just look at it as this is just your first one. Don't go
Yes.
crazy.
Well, like one cheap banner or standee maximum, and then the rest are money makers.
Yep.
Yeah. The
And don't expect to sell anything.
Mhm. That's another thing with like small cons. I think everyone who goes to smaller cons are people who are looking to find something new from someone they don't know, because small cons do not pull in, like some of the bigger names like Donnie Gates or Simone or Tennyson. They're those people you're showing up like in New York and San Diego, and that's what all they're showing up to this year. And even then, also at some bigger conventions, the people who actually go and bother to wander around the aisles are people who are in that same vein where they're looking to find something new. So just having people ask you like, who are you? That's going to be a normal question all the time. And that's going to be because people are genuinely interested in, well, what's your work? Kind of take a look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not always going to sell everything. But, it's the law of averages. You might get 1 in 10 who stops your conversation and actually picks it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's funny enough, the first con that I did, it was supposed to kind of be a smaller con. It was it was Albuquerque and Comic-Con, and this was back in 2009. And a friend of mine and I had been talking about it for a long time, and we decided we were going to do it as a 10-hour away trip. And we got all this stuff together, and we were like, this con's not going to be that big. We can kind of get our feet wet a little bit. We got there, and everything, for all appearances, it was in a Ramada Limited. All appearances were telling us this is not going to be a huge deal. Man, the doors blew off that place. The first day, they had 7,000 people, and we were right there in the hallway where every single one of them came through the door, and we were right there. And on top of that, we were right by the 501st Stormtrooper Brigade, where everybody had to check in their weapons. So we were like, we had the best place in the house. And you talking about working, dude. Holy moly. We were like doing sketches and selling stuff. We ended up making back all the money that we spent. We were lucky, but it was so funny because it wasn't supposed to be that big a deal, and it was a really big deal. So yeah, that was pretty funny. I still think about that, but since then, I don't think I've seen one that was that successful since.
Right.
Yeah, but I haven't been back to that one either. Not because I didn't want to, but just because that's a little farther than what I want to go, especially by myself.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think also the smaller cons are an interesting place because of the increased acceptance of like comic culture due to like the MCU and the DCU being things, and the rise of cosplay on the internet, people just wanting to make costumes and try them out at any chance they can get. So the amount of traffic that small cons get, I think, is directly proportional to the amount of independent cosplayers in an area as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. And gaming shops and stuff, that makes a big difference. Thing about here, that they have a con here every year, San Angelo, Texas, but it's not really that big just because, it's pop culture is just not a thing here. I mean, it's either artsy stuff, or it's saddles, Western type art. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, you live in one of the type of time capsule towns where the last film that anyone has seen is either Citizen Kane or the old True Grit.
Yeah, we're actually, though, San Angelo is actually the art capital 2 years in a row of Texas.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you go downtown, you'll see all kinds of murals and stuff. But again, like I say,
It's all fine. It's fine art, not comic art.
It's either going to be fine poppy art, like I say kind of hippie art, like it's I don't know, it's weird art, really weird. To me, it's weird. Maybe not to other people, but it's weird to me. Or it's saddles. It's Western saddles and cowboys, and nothing wrong with that, But I mean, as far as what I do, it's not really represented here.
Yeah, it's got to get a combination comic and leatherworking booth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right.
You can make some classic '90s combat pouches.
Yeah. Yeah. Some shoulder pads.
Yes. I am.
So Tim, you being a writer, what do you think you'll be doing most of the time? With at the con.
Probably elevator pitching, or just trying to chew the cud, as it were, with whoever I can find. I mean, I'll have issues on hand, but for the most part, I will probably be in and out of the booth, but I don't sketch, I don't do portraits or anything like that. All with I just hopefully can talk to people and either get them to like me enough or be interested enough in the premise that they want to pick up a copy of Wolf Hunter. Saturday's gonna be interesting because I am on a panel and actually just got the itinerary sent to me. So Saturday, Scott Wakefield will be moderating a panel, and I'll be on it talking about
that's cool.
Selling and publishing comics as an independent. So it'll be the process of, as a writer, how do you get your stuff seen when you don't have necessarily an agency to get an artist for you.
Well, good on you, man. I haven't heard of any panels that I'm supposed to be a part of, and I am that's not a bad thing. Yeah. I'm okay with just, not being on panels. So
that's fair. Yeah, that's the thing, is that my whole job is words, so the more chance I get to shoot words at people, the better. And hopefully convert some people from the panel to, stops back at the booth to pick up issues.
Well, my thing is, see, I have a real, when it comes to comics, I have knowledge about the comics that I used to be into, that I picked up, But man, as like, especially when I first got on here, with Silverline and got on the streams and stuff. I mean, you guys were like, and I watched all the streams leading up to whenever I started getting on, and man, just so much passing comic knowledge of stuff that I never even heard of, even though it was happening during the time I was actually buying comics, when I was younger. So I felt really inadequate. Still do. I mean, there's a lot of things that I have that I just have no clue. I was Stephen Butler was showing me some stuff today, and he said, most people don't even know that some of these characters that I'm doing. I was like, I have no idea who this character is. Yeah. And I said, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I mean, your art is, absolutely stellar. I just don't know who this is. Come to find out, he was drawing one of the new gods. I can't remember the guy's name, but I actually did remember him after he told me who he was. It was Darkseid's son. You know how they used to have, and see, I remembered the story where Darkseid and whoever else it was used to trade sons. But anyway, see, that stuff that I just, I haven't read since I was a kid. And so but like these comic guys, they know this stuff. How could you be in comics and not know this?
Yeah.
Very easily,
Yeah.
very
But
easily.
that's
I haven't read
yeah.
it since I was like 6.
That's
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah. That's the thing I think for some people in comics, the kind of I don't want to say it's a reality check, but it kind of is, and that it's comics itself is already a niche medium and industry.
Mhm.
The MCU blew up uh, uh, simply because one producer in Hollywood at the time really liked Iron Man, and he knew Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
Because at the time, Iron Man was at the process of being canned from the Avengers because he was not selling.
yeah,
But that ended up, exploding. Then Robert Downey Jr. kind of carried that on his back, and then it wasn't necessarily the comics itself that it blew up the MCU. It was just the combination of people doing things and the talent involved, and then that did trickle back into comics. But comics is sustainable enough as a niche that it can carry its own steam, but it suffers from the same issue that print publishing does, and that it's when you're inside of it, it's monolithic. That's all you can see. But from the outside, you're not seeing. Well, before 2007, you weren't seeing like huge news story breaking about the ongoings happening at comic studios like you did see with like Studio 67.
right.
And so when you're inside comics, it turns into even more so of a weird thing where there are niches within niches. You have your Marvel fanboys, you have your DC fanboys, you have your independent fanboys. You have people who like particular genres or particular styles of heroes.
And then you got a lot of people that just know something about it all.
Yeah.
Now look, I can tell you as soon as I see a Todd McFarlane,
Mhm.
as soon as I see Rob Liefeld's work, Jim Lee's work, Eric Larson,
Mhm.
as soon as I see those guys, I can tell you who they are. Because that's what I was looking at. That's what but I only know the stuff that and that's the thing about me is when I'm into something, I'm into it. And, but like having all this comic knowledge, of stuff that I wasn't even into, no
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, I
You
think
better ask somebody else
yeah.
because I never read that book.
Yeah.
You asked me about Spider-Man. And by the way, you asked me about Amazing Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Don't ask me about Web of Spider-Man because I never, I've got probably 10 copies of it, but that's just not one. I only have 10 copies of it because I wasn't able to get Amazing Spider-Man that month,
Mhm.
those months. So,
Yes. Uh, yeah, and that's one of my gripes with the current state of the Big Two is the fact that they have so many side shoots that you're further cannibalizing and breaking apart your audiences.
yeah,
Like you'll have Wolverine will be like number one selling like so many months in a row because it's Wolverine, everyone knows it. But then if you're running, like the when right after the current setup on Krakoa, you had Uncanny X-Men, great. Marauders, as we were like, I remember that name from the like Sinister, but I don't necessarily know that. X-Force, we were like, okay, kind of remember this from this back then. And I can't remember the fifth one was. I think it was like Summer's Family or whatever. And now all of a sudden you're asking people to buy 4 different books, which your whales will, but you're not. Yeah, it's a whole other thing. But
the casual person though.
yes, yeah.
And I'll tell you, whenever I was collecting comics, there was a lot of times where they'd be doing these crossover things, these huge overarching stories that would take, to see the rest of this, you had to pick up blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, well, I guess I'll figure it out
Yeah,
eventually because
yeah.
I'm not. Well, the thing
I'll
too was,
wait for the collected edition.
yeah, at the time, there was no places to just readily, those things
Yeah.
weren't readily available. I had to pretty much get what I could get.
Yep. Yeah.
So that was a big
Yes.
issue.
I do think that now with they're kind of figuring out with the way almost like comics as subscription, which is a whole other weird thing. But it's kind of where now what I hate that like to do this, but like my advice for anyone trying to get into comics is always go down to the store, find a cover that suits your fancy, and just pick whatever issue is the most recent one. Because usually, if it's written well, it'll be self-contained enough that you can pick up what happened before and what's going to happen after. But if you're trying to get into the lore of comics, like you've already done that, or you've like seen so many movies, and you're like, okay, I've read X whatever for 10 months now. How do I know more about X or Y? I'm like, well, if it's from the big two and you're only interested in those two, go to their websites because they have subscription readers where you can get their entire backlog for like $15 a month or less, depending. Or if you want to get into comics as a whole, which is how I have just acquired knowledge from all these weird annals of history, is going to Comixology, do their unlimited program, because you get stuff from every publisher, including independents. It's like I'll be getting like stuff that I can read as part of my subscription from like a weird niche independent publisher in Germany that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a weird thing where, unfortunately, online retail, we already kind of see it happen with traditional commerce where online retail killed the mom and pop store. But I think also there is enough of hipsterism in comics and traditional publishing that the mom and pop shops are staying afloat there. Because everyone loves the feel of a classic book or classic comic in her hand over the feel of an e-reader.
Yeah.
So I think hipsterism is what's keeping the mom and pop store alive. But as far as getting into the lore of comics, you need to have a repository. But unfortunately, what I want would be for publishers to do like what we do here at Silverline is direct to consumer purchasing and shipping. Or if you like, okay, I want to know like this backstory or whatever, this back issue, go to their website, find that issue, and then like purchase online, mail to me. What you can do at silverlinecomics.com and go to buy comics, and we will mail you issues of everything you missed.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. About that is, you can just get whatever you missed, and every Kickstarter, those are available, and they're available all the time anyway. So, like anytime you want to, you can go pick up Trump's #1, Trump's #2, Trump's #3.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you're reading. See, that is so cool. This is a good time to be, into something like this.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, as far as going to conventions though, I'll be bringing Wolf Hunter #1 because that is the currently the only Wolf Hunter we have yet. #2 is being penciled at the moment. Last I heard, we're testing someone, and I believe we gave them a green thumb. I'm not sure. I might be wrong on that. I'll have to double check. But as far as are you planning on bringing any issues, or are you just bringing your own artwork and grabbing stuff off of our communal table?
I'm just going to hang out mainly. I'm not bringing anything more. Now, I know a lot of people are bringing like issues of their book and all that kind of stuff. But if I had done any of this traditionally, because I've said in the past, all this is done digitally, because if I didn't work digitally, I couldn't do it because I'm a dad. I'm a day job guy. I don't have time for this and all that unless I do it digitally, because digitally is just quicker. It's easier for me. But had I done it traditionally, I would probably be doing like Pete. Pete is bringing from the UK most all of his that he has left, all of his original boards and everything from his books. So he's going to have, he's going to have some stuff to sell, that guy, some originals on the table. That's pretty awesome. So he's probably going to be, able to, make some money off of those. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think definitely like if you're, as far as like issues itself, if you've created a comic, I think it's typically, if you are packing it, if you don't necessarily need to all the time, but depending on the venue and how you're going, having the entire run of something that you've done available at one go, I think you're going to get the most, appreciation there from, the fan or the ongoer there who can pick up the entire thing in one go, as opposed to just bringing the most recent 2 or 3 issues, which I've seen some people do. And I get it, but it doesn't make anyone happy.
Yeah. Yep. Agree.
Alrighty. So I think to summarize here, if you're going out of state, have we gone through your pack for something that's like in state or closer? What you're bringing to do for something that is not several states away?
I'm sorry I didn't catch that. What were you saying?
I don't know if we've gone over what your pack is for what you'd bring for something that is in state or not, or is
now, yeah, that's a whole different thing, because I have actually a pretty good setup. I've got, I don't know if you've ever seen those modular things. They're like these cages, cubes that you can put together. I have 2 sets of those that I usually set up. And I've got some different things. I've got banners. I've got just stuff I've kind of amassed over time.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I'll go and I've still got prints from the last go around. But I might be able to bring those, but I don't know. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. I've usually got action figure stuff like stands and stuff that I made out of styrofoam paint and plaster and all that kind of stuff. So I sell a few different things. Usually have chairs, and I've got like little tables and stuff. That I draw on aside from the table. That way I can use the table space for display space.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when I'm going to someplace near, I'm pretty set up.
Nice.
Not for this so much.
Yeah. Last place time I went to something near was Rose City with Mad Cave several years ago, and that was different because all the stuff came in from out of state with a different person. And then pretty much all I had to do was, bring myself, but I was also the food person. So I was making the constant runs. Where do you get your moth origins? They're always out of stock locally. I think this one is potentially for you. Motu. Your Motu origins?
Oh.
Yes.
Where did you see the Motu origins? But I do have them. Oh, you probably were here last week. Yeah. I usually get them from anywhere, but usually Big Bad Toy Store. Although I did pick up, what's his name? Leech this week from Walmart, and Snout Spout from Walmart. Some of them come from Walmart, some of them from Big Bad Toy Store. Once I started collecting the line, I was able to usually just go to Walmart and get them, but getting those back characters, man, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you enter a line late, you run the risk of that. And I walked by those guys like with my head down to not purchase them for a long time. And then I was like, okay. Because a few of them went on sale, and I couldn't stand it anymore. Now up there, those Wind Raiders, I got those. I got like 4 of them. I got 3 of them for $7 a piece. They're on clearance at Walmart. The fly thing up there, on top of, I don't know if you can really see it.
Let's do that.
Go turn the light on. There we go. Maybe you'll be able to see it now.
There.
Yeah, it's the thing. Skeletor's riding on there.
Yes.
$7 a piece. I got several of those. This I just set up. That's
Nice.
all of my. That's not all of my Mount Marvel Legends, but it's
Yes.
all the Avenger-esque and cosmic legends that I have. So yeah, it turned out pretty good. I still have like my shelves are still. You see my characters like laying down and stuff. I have to set them back up because I brought them all in here.
Nice.
And then there they are, Tim.
Ah, yes.
They're in adventure mode.
The old school TNG crew.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, it's coming together. I just purchased. I don't know if my camera will reach, but I got a really good deal on. Nah, you can't see it.
Okay.
It's TMNT stuff, the 2012 version. Usually, I throw a lot of shade on different versions of TMNT because I pick the first version of stuff most of the time, or the version I'm familiar with. But man, there's some pretty good cartoons and stuff. 2012 Turtles. I was pretty impressed. Kids love them. I tried to introduce them to Turtles. It didn't take, but then like they discovered the 2012 versions of them, and man, that's all they wanted.
Yeah, well, that's like the whole thing that happened with Star Wars is the idea of like just generational awareness and norms, where like
it taught me a lot.
Yeah, I was weird in that I was raised in a time capsule family, so we only had like a VHS player for the longest time. But a lot of people from my generation, the prequels were their Star Wars, and like they're okay with the originals, but the prequels are what met their generational norm when they first started watching movies.
Yeah.
It's interesting just seeing like whatever is happening at the moment, even if it's like an adaptation of something before, just because that's what's happening at the same time that you're gaining the consciousness of art and media. That's what you will end up sticking to. Something that also I should mention, because I was looking at this in the back of my head when we started talking about today, because I didn't remember if I had to do this yet. But if you are doing conventions out of state by 2023, you have to remember to get your real ID issued to you, which for those of you unaware, you probably live in a state that already had holograms on your IDs. Oregon, for the longest time, they don't have holograms in our IDs, so they're incredibly easy to forge. And no one thought this was an issue.
Man.
So by May of 2023, we have to go through and get our real ID that actually, looks like an actual government issued ID and isn't just like plastic stock with a photo on it.
Yep. Before long, your ID will be in your skin.
Or something. I don't know. I think that's always like the weird thing where like, Elon Musk is talking about the making
the brain stuff.
The brain stuff.
Yeah.
I do think there is, merit in microization of technology like that. We got the cell phone out of that. But
I have the technology.
Yes.
We could rebuild him.
Yes.
$6 million man.
I'm better. I'm stronger.
Yeah.
I'm faster. But I think there is enough. Hopefully, everyone has seen enough cyberpunk that there is enough social stigma around letting anyone mess with your body in a way.
That's the thing, right? All the stuff sounds all fine and good, and yeah, I can see the utility of all of it, But at the same time, you put these people in there. You got to remember people are human, and the guy that's in control right now, like I don't have a problem with Elon Musk, but what about the guy that comes after him that gets all this technology and
My concession is I will make do as long as I get to have cyberpunk style mantis blades that come on my forearms.
Yes.
If I can get that, then I'm on board.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it has been a little over an hour. We are going to get some sleep in before we lose all of it this weekend.
Yes.
And the days before preparing.
Because Tim's going to be in mine and Pete's room.
Yes.
We're gonna be partying down, talking about comics, and I don't know what we're gonna do.
I might do some live streaming of it on my personal Twitch. I don't know, because I can.
Ooh,
I can
y'all
stream
hear that?
I can stream from my phone, so and I have the affiliate program, so if my battery holds up, I don't know how the Wi-Fi will be in the convention floor, but maybe from like the hotel lobby, if I have like 5G in the lobby or something, we'll get people in and talk.
Yeah. So Mark, Cassisi, if y'all are hanging out, hey, y'all come by. We'll be in the room.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone's interested in watching that, that'll be on twitch.tv/TimTKWriter. If you subscribe, I have fun emotes and you don't get ads. Yes. But in the meantime, we will see you here next week. Talking about stuff. What are we talking about next week?
Well, for one, we'll be talking about how the con went.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Sure, that'll come up.
Yes.
We'll be talking about what we learned.
Our recovery
we'll
on
be talking about
schedule.
the funny stuff. We'll be talking about, dragging Tim back to his room.
Yes. Yeah. After the Four Loko hits. Yes. Okay. Next one, should be talking about already alluded to this when I was talking about comics being split into multiple, side stories. Are comics too expensive? That'll be our topic for next week.
Well, I know a lot of stuff that is too expensive. Some of it's hanging on this wall right here, and it's just going up.
Yeah. The other question is that a problem?
Yeah. Ask my wife. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll talk about it next week, though. We don't want to throw any spoilers out there.
Yes. If it's a problem, do we acknowledge it or do we stay in denial?
Yeah. Do we need help?
Yes. You can check out the Wednesday Wham crew here, 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. No Silver Sunday, I imagine, unless we have people who can't make it doing their own stream, but I don't think so.
Silver Sunday is going to be in our room with Tim live streaming it. No, we don't know that. We're not sure. We don't even know if we can get a connection there yet.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll figure it out. And we'll be back, like I said, next week. So I'll throw up our socials here. So if you want to follow us there, you can find us on everything at these tags. And I think that's about it.
Yep. Cassisi, Mark, thanks for joining us. And all the people who are watching post show.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Looks like we do have a quick Kickstarter video, so I'll run that before the end here.
Hi, and welcome to the Kickstarter. I am Roland Mann, and I'm the chief cook and bottle washer at Silverline Comics, a genre-spanning independent comic and graphic novel publisher. And I'm here to tell you about our Kickstarter number 20. 20. Can you believe we've done 20 Kickstarters? That's right, 20 Kickstarters. We have successfully funded and shipped 20 Kickstarters. That's 20. That means we are making comic books. And I'm here to tell you about our next batch of Kickstarter comics that you want to support it if you can. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let Brent Larson tell you about Kalis. Take it away, Brent.
Okay, we'll finally get to see how the story ends. Wait a minute. That's it? A tree floating in space? That's so weird. Hi, I'm Brent Larson. You may remember me from such creator-owned comics as Kalis. Some of you at the end of the story thought, this is no way for a story to end, and I agree, which is why I'm excited to announce that in September we will be kickstarting Kalis Volume 2. It'll tell more of the story of where Scott Anders actually has been, why he wants to go back, what's the CIA doing in the meantime, and who is the mysterious group that's trying to keep him here on Earth. It's very exciting, the art is wonderful, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So thanks for your support, and we'll see you in the comics.
Thank you, Brent. And now here's Rob Davis to tell us about Twilight Grim.
20 years ago, the city of Hallowed Heights was nearly destroyed as the result of warfare between humans and vampires. In its aftermath, the two factions forged a most unusual peace plan. A high and heavily guarded wall now splits the two sides of the city. On one side of the wall reside the middle and upper classes of humans. It is clean, beautiful, and safe. On the other side of the wall, where a teenaged petty thief named Susie Q has just been exiled, lies the darkest and most horrible ghetto imaginable. Here, amongst squalor and vice, dwell the poor, the homeless, the forgotten, and the vampires. Led by the family of Gregor Radovic. As long as the vampires stay on their side of the wall, the humans on the other side are willing to pretend they don't exist and let them rule over this so-called blood zone as they see fit. This includes turning a blind eye as the vampires feast upon the zone's human inhabitants. Amidst rumors that the long-held truce may be unraveling, there's no human law in the blood zone, save for that dispensed by a mysterious and violent young man who has appointed himself its sole guardian from the depredations of the vampires. His name is Twilight Grim.
Thank you, Rob. We've also got Sirens #2 and Scary Book #1, which is part of our remix line. You're going to love those. Horror goes in with our Silverline Horror Extravaganza. So, back it if you can. If you can't back it, we get it. We're in an inflation economy. You can share it. Tell all the people you know who love comic books that we make comic books and we ship them out, because obviously this is Kickstarter number 20. And until then, remember to make mine Silverline.
There you go. That looks pretty good. So hopefully you guys check it out. All right. Well, that's been us. Quentin, how do you feel about jazz?
Jazz? Well,
Hi, my name is Sergio Cariello, and make mine Silverline.